Dan, say hello to my little friend.
Who is that little friend of yours there?
This is my little kitty cat.
Oh,
Yeah.
and
Cute.
what is its name?
Kitty cat.
Wow.
Yeah. We got two of them. Yeah, I'm serious. I go into that shelter and oh my gosh, I could have walked out of there with 100 of them.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
So you got a new cat. Well, you got two new cats. I know we
Yeah.
talked before about you were at the shelter. We didn't know you were going to give us an update, and
Yeah.
so you now have kitty cat and what's the other one?
Kitty cat. Yeah.
How do you? Oh, so you just call one name and both of them come.
Yeah. I'm not giving their official names before they sign a waiver.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, probably best for social media purposes.
Yeah, I
Don't
got real
use
strict.
only use their real names. No.
Yeah, real strict rules here on
Yes.
on my uh on my channel.
We don't
Yeah.
exploit family members.
Uh-huh. Well, I went to a number of shelters and I had perused the websites of others and I had talked to you about, there's kind of some stuffy rules.
Yeah, it was heavy. It was a heavy process.
Oh, yeah. But the one that I eventually got it from was kind of like I don't know. It's not like it wasn't called like the county pound or anything, but I think they were associated with like the local animal enforcement officers, because these were all shelter cats. They were like taken out of abusive homes or neglectful
Yeah,
homes.
rescue animals.
Yeah, they're
Yep.
rescue hoarders, whatever.
Yep.
And yeah, this one cat, Dan, I am the kind of guy when I turn on the TV and I see a boxing match, I immediately start rooting for the guy who's getting the taste slapped out of his mouth. I always root for the underdog. I don't know how
Yes.
you are. But I went into this shelter and there's all these beautiful cats, but then there was this one and she's kind of smaller than all the others and just kind of tucked away in the corner and just felt like she was getting passed over by everyone and she started talking to me.
Oh my. Yeah, she
Yeah.
just kind of spoke to you. Just that's how it goes though. That's
Yeah.
that's usually what you hear is people say they look at everyone and all of a sudden there's just one that for whatever reason they kind of gravitate towards.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And she is very timid at first. I don't know what she's been through in her life, but we brought her home. She went and hid behind a box and just stayed there, And, we showed her where the litter box was and where her food was and everything. She would eat and take care of herself, but she didn't want nothing to do with nothing.
Ooh.
But now here she is,
Yeah.
sitting right here,
Look at
staring
that.
at you into the camera.
Maybe it's my voice.
It is the power of love.
That's right.
I cannot think of a more lucky animal than to get adopted into our house. My wife, she's just crazy about animals.
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's great to have some new feline friends here on the Wood Hounds.
Yeah. So we got our cats back in the house. Those few months were the longest I think I'd ever been in my life without a pet, without a cat, because we had cats growing up. And when we first got married, we had cats, and then after our beloved cat or stray that came to the house for a long time, he passed away. So then we went a couple months until we decided what we wanted to do, and here we are.
And here you are. The void has been refilled or filled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I could probably use them over at the wood yard. I've been kicking up some mice nests in the wood. Those bunny rabbits are all over the place.
Chipmunks? You got chipmunks?
I haven't seen a chipmunk, but I have seen groundhogs. They're over there.
Yep.
And I have seen the ones with wings and those little pointy things sticking out of their rear ends.
Yeah, maybe you
Wow.
do need a woodyard cat.
Oh man, I need an animal that'll attack hornets' nests and wasps. Whew. This has
Yeah.
just been the worst year for these things. I got swarmed. I told you that a couple weeks ago, and I get an occasion one every now and then too. And gee whiz.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. I haven't had very many I haven't had to deal with wasps or hornets or anything in my wood yard this year. Last year I
Uh-huh.
did, but this year I've been hornet free,
Wow.
bee
Yeah, they get
free.
in they're in my machines, they're in the ground, they're in my trailer. On the side of my trailer, there's like a hole in the frame where the wires go into. And every time I hitch my trailer up, there's like a clunk. Oh, it's like the sun gets blotted out, and then you look and here there's this big swarm of hornets pouring out of that hole. And
Yeah,
off that
not
tractor I am,
fun.
and I'm running, man.
Not fun. Not fun at all.
No. Yeah, so let's thank everyone for tuning in to the Woodhounds podcast. My name is Joe. I am a YouTube personality known as Ohio Woodburner, and I am sitting next to my good friend, the hobbyist. His name is Dan.
That's right. And my channel is Back 40 Firewood. And yeah, it's good to be here. I was just gonna say it sounds like you were making dreams come true of the stray cats, Joe. And
Well,
I
thank
have
you.
I have a story that I may have shattered someone's dream. I don't know.
Oh no.
And let me just preface this by saying back when I was in wrestling, like I would always have at least once, probably every couple weeks after a show, somebody would come up to me and say, what I was doing in the ring looks easy and they want to do it and they can't wait to get started. And, being nice as you can be, you want to just say, all right, yeah, it's a lot of work, but good luck. But when you know that the person's completely delusional and they have no chance at all of doing anything, but you don't have the heart to like really tell them, you
Yeah.
know. So I kind of had a similar situation relating to firewood recently.
Oh, come on. Come
Yeah,
on. I don't like
well,
how this is going.
I got talking with someone and it was around firewood. They've been doing firewood for a year or two, I don't know. But I mean, and I don't know if it's also, I mean, some people I don't think realize what really is involved.
Yeah.
And this person was telling me their goals for next year. And they were pretty high. And so I I kind of just questioned
Uh-huh.
them and we kind of got into it and I started having to like break down numbers.
Yeah.
And I know you're always
And
a big fan of like
yeah.
telling people to just do it, giving them
Yeah.
encouragement, start today, that's the best time. But sometimes, man, there's
Uh-huh.
a you have to realize what you're saying.
Well, if you're into numbers, you're talking to the right guy here. This is right up my alley because I can spell numbers like a boss. Yeah. So let me get this right. So this guy, do you know him? Is he an acquaintance or something? Someone from your hometown? What's the deal here?
No, he's from kind of the area here, and I just ran into him out and about at a store, and he knows
Uh-huh.
me, and I don't really know him, but he
But he
knows.
sells firewood.
Yes, yep.
What's he do? Did he say?
Like as far as
Like what's he sell?
just mostly, I think he does some recreational, but mostly like bulk, like
Uh-huh.
deliveries. Um,
Boiler wood.
yeah, I think I'm not exactly sure. I
Yeah.
didn't get into a lot of specifics just because, you know.
Uh-huh. So, well, what is it about you? What did you do? Did you like shoot him down? Did you like kick his dream up his backside or something, or what's the deal here?
Well, he would, he started talking about, like I said, what he wants to be doing next year, and I just kind of asked him if he really understood what kind of what those kind of numbers meant,
Uh-huh.
and like what was really involved with doing mass quantities of cords and hundreds of cords of firewood.
Uh-huh. Is this a side hustle for him? Did he say? Does
I
he have
think
like a
it is
full-time job?
now,
Uh-huh.
but I don't know if he's planning to go full time or you
Yeah.
know, it was just a weird, like I said, I mean, I always I try to err on the side of, being nice and courteous,
Yeah,
but
you're trying to be courteous.
but at some point you just have to say, listen
Uh-huh.
here, do you really understand what that kind of volume means?
Yeah. So, do you think there's a chance he listens to the Woodhound podcast? I mean, we
Uh,
could. I know how I'm going to be here. I'm going to be polite. So
uh
whatever.
I don't think he does. He might. If
Okay.
if he does, then he'll just be hearing this dose of reality again.
All right. So throw me some numbers. What's this guy? Did he tell you what he is selling and what he's looking at doing?
No, he didn't. He didn't tell me what he was currently selling. He just said he wants to increase to 500 to 800 cords,
A year?
a year.
Uh-huh.
Yes, but in doing that, he also mentioned that he was only going to buy a few loads of logs.
Well, what the heck?
So
What the heck? I mean, are you serious?
yeah, yeah. So that's
Did he know what a cord is?
yes.
So we're talking. This is an apples to apples discussion here.
Yep. We established what a full cord meant, and
Uh-huh.
he knew 4x4x8. He knew the
128 cubic feet.
yep
Yeah.
128
Won't,
cubic feet. Yep.
uh-huh.
He
Won't
knew all
fit
that.
in the back of a Ford Ranger's bed.
Yep.
This is a legit full cord. Okay.
Yes.
And he sells, I guess, as a side hustle, as a hobby, but he wants to expand and go big. And so his goal for next year is somewhere between 500 and 800.
Correct. And so I was,
Come on.
I was trying to, well, and I had on, so a few weeks ago on my Friday night live stream, I had on Matt from Trees to Firewood, who's located down in southern Wisconsin.
Yes.
And he does around 1,000 cords a year. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And
God.
we had talked kind of beforehand, before we went on the live stream, and he was like breaking down, what is involved with, because he also believes that he doesn't think a lot of people realize what kind of volume that really is.
Yeah.
So we
That's
kind of broke
crazy.
down the numbers. And so I kind of had those in my back pocket to like throw at this guy.
Yeah.
So, so I told him, I said, let's just say you were planning to do 1,000. Here is what you would need, And
Yeah.
so, like Matt, he gets loads of logs that are a 12 cord load. And I don't know if that's the size you get.
No, but I keep hearing from log hauler Jesse about, because his truck came from Michigan, and he talks about, like, I think up in your area, Michigan, Wisconsin, there's different kind of trucks, I think. Ours are around 6 cords for what we generically call a triaxle.
Okay. Yeah. And I think the 12 cord is like a triaxle, then pulling like a trailer, like another little log trailer behind it.
Yeah, they call them pup trailers.
Pup. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Wait, I said that backwards. Pup. There. Okay.
So Matt, that's what he gets, 12 cord loads.
Okay.
And so for him to do this is what I was telling the guy. I said, so let's just say it's 1,000. To do
Uh-huh.
1,000 cords of wood a year, you need one of those 12 cord trucks to come to your yard every 4 days.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah.
Once a week.
I'm living my life right now in my wood yard thinking of these numbers. So, and I'll talk about them here as I'm getting my brain around this.
Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah,
but that's a lot of wood, boy. And then
83
does he?
loads.
Yeah, and then I'm thinking right away. I'm like thinking, who is this guy? Is he working out of his house? Does he have a yard? Can you imagine all of these trucks coming up and down like a residential street all the time, and what the neighbors would think about that?
Yeah.
You know,
And
that
where do you
is,
put the logs?
and yeah, and then selling them too. So like, you know, I'm thinking, okay, so like you're obviously that kind of volume probably stacking's out the window, and that saves a lot of space. So you'd have a big pile, and having a huge pile of 12 cords of firewood to get scooped and delivered, and you're making that. Is he doing it by himself? Did he say?
I think he may have a helper or two.
Uh
So I
huh.
think you might, but I don't know if they're like full time helpers.
Yeah.
And so there's another variable we didn't really get into. Like I didn't clarify if he was working 5 days a week,
Uh huh.
7 days a week.
Well, I'm
Um,
thinking that if he has a this robust sales network where he's got customers that will take it right now, you split and sell into a trailer or a dump truck and it goes, so you're not having any left behind. But can you, if this guy just, I don't know, I got the sense he just started, did you say, or he just sells a few cords a year, but that he's going to ramp up to that, about having all of this network of people who will buy your stuff, that you can take it to them at any minute's notice and dump and go, come back and process even more, and you're driving all over town and doing all this stuff while still making 10 to 12 cords every 4 days.
yeah, that's where because the other number then is to keep ahead of that one truckload every 4 days. You need to split and sell 2.7 cords a day. So let's round that up to three. Okay. So
Is that every day?
that's
Like
that's on
5 days
every
a week or the weekends too, or what?
that's figuring in 7 days a week. So
Well, that ain't
seven
gonna
days
happen.
a week, 7 days a week, three cords, split, cut, split, and then three cords delivered. So
Yeah.
if you balance that out, that's three cords cut in the morning or three cords split in the morning, and three cords delivered in the afternoon.
Yeah. You know who I'm thinking of right now is our good friend Skidder Kev, up there in Canada. And he shows videos of that yard that he works in, and he sits inside the cab of a
Yes.
processor. And gosh, they have cones, big, massive piles of split firewood that machine made, ran up that big conveyor and left in cones. I wonder how many cords a year he makes. But
Boy, I don't
I'm
know.
just I'm just saying, moving wood, selling it and stuff. I guess it's possible, but it doesn't seem. It seems low probability that you're going to have that much of a sales network, that all your wood's out the door the moment it's made, to get yourself to that level to where going to have to where you're not going to have a big pile of wood. I guess it's possible, but I'm thinking of this guy here, it makes it sound like he's just getting started, or he's not that, he hasn't built that much of a network yet.
I will say when I started throwing these numbers around, he did get the deer in the headlights look on his face.
Yeah.
Like he was like, "Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, maybe because I'll even back down to say 100 cords of wood is a lot of wood."
I agree.
And I think like when people out there just start tossing around numbers, you always want, 100. Well, that doesn't sound big. I'll say 500. That sounds better than 100. But
Yeah.
500 cords of wood.
Yeah, it's a
It's a
lot.
lot of wood.
I recall when I was starting this, like, I would have 6 cords of wood to my name. And that's when I met with the Ohio Small Business Development Center. And they had the spreadsheet, and we plugged in all my numbers and how much money I wanted to make in order for me to keep the house, and to make a comfortable living. And the number that they first came up with, this is before the prices all started getting weird, was 100 cords. And I still remember looking at that number on the spreadsheet, and I was thinking, gosh, I can't imagine doing 100 cords and having log hauler Jesse have enough of those logs to even bring me to begin with, let alone, backing up. That was when I was working on my yard, backing up my driveway. And
Oh,
oh
yeah.
wow, it was just such an overwhelming number at first. Now, I got it in my back pocket, but that's a huge number. 100 cords is a lot of wood. Make no mistake. 500, 800. Yeah, we're talking a
Yeah,
lot.
it's so that was, I think, and I think it's just as good to sometimes, think about stuff like this, like how the volume and the amount of wood that's involved with, like you said, 100 or 500. It's massive. And when you start breaking down, the averages, like well, this is for 1,000, every four
Yeah,
days you need a truck.
yeah.
And so that's a 12 cord. So if it's a 6 cord truck, you would need a truck every 2 days.
Gosh, yeah. And that's my biggest struggle is just getting the wood. I always had these big numbers in my head too until reality hit me in the face. And I was thinking, well, there's just no way. I buy my logs. I'm not a logger. I'm not a tree service, and I'm at the mercy of the logger's current job being at a reasonable distance to where they want to bring tops and rejects to my place. And that was one of my biggest nativities, being naive, was I just thought these loggers were like Walmart. When I needed a load of logs, I'd call them up and they would bring them to me. It don't work that way.
No,
And
it's not
I
Amazon.
no, and then I would have 0 logs and I'm standing around looking like a dummy. And then I get avalanched with like 7 loads and I have nowhere to put them, and everything's just wrong. That was when I was at my house. And that's what happened to me last year. I was really low on logs until the fall, and I got 12 loads, within a month. And then, some more stragglers came in through the winter time. And gosh, it is just, there is no frickin' way I could do that quantity. And that's how I made the pivot though, to figure out a way to make money without doing it the old fashioned way. And I don't know, maybe that guy could have been someone that you could have pushed them into a different direction, or at least let them know that there's different ways to make money than selling that big volume. Just seems far fetched. Do you agree?
Yeah, and that's why, I was just like, I good luck, buddy. I I wasn't even gonna try to push him into a different direction. I was just like, go and find out. Go
Yeah.
find out for yourself.
Uh huh. It just seems that if you have been in the business, you've been around for a long time, you've got a huge clientele, and maybe even some of your customers are people like me that would buy your firewood, and I can add value to it and make it worth more and make it worth my time. So you do have accounts out there that you can move a lot of wood to.
Yeah.
But for someone like him, that just seems like it's not realistic. So
No.
what did
Well,
you tell him? Did you like shoot him down then? I know what
well,
I'd have said to him, but whatever.
no, I just wished him well and said good luck. I think you got to realize, because the thing that really threw me off is when he said he was only going to he was only going to have to buy possibly a few loads here and there. And that's when I was like, well, you're going to need a load every week. you're going to
Yeah.
need a load of logs a lot more than you think.
Well, what did he mean by that? It's only going to buy a
I
few.
I think he thought he was going to maybe harvest trees himself or get tree service wood, or I don't know. But that's,
Uh huh.
So that's where I think sometimes people get, they hear these numbers and they see YouTube people and they think that it's all, sparkled and rainbows.
Yeah.
And then they don't really comprehend the actual meaning of what 500 cords of wood is.
Yeah. So the Amish gentleman north of me, I buy about 30 to 35 cords off of him a year. He makes, now they do their measurements in ricks. They call them ricks, the Amish do, which is a third of a cord. So the calculus there, he makes around 300 cords of firewood a year. So he does that all by himself with a chainsaw and a super splitter. And he has just a mound of trash and he has a fire going constantly, you know, but he lives out in the country. He doesn't have any neighbors. He keeps to himself. And, I'm just wondering about this guy here. If he lives in like a residential neighborhood, I bet you his neighbors hate him
Yeah,
if he's doing that.
I didn't ask how big his yard was or any of those, details. And maybe he's got a huge place. I just could tell. I have a way of like reading people. Like I said, back when I would get all these, jabronis coming up to me saying they were going to be the next Hulk Hogan and they were going to, in 2 months they were going to be trained and be in the ring and they wanted to wrestle me and take my title. All this, I can see delusion in people's eyes. So, like I said, I didn't get too deep into
Oh,
things. I
God.
wanted to just give a little dose of reality, and then I kind of bowed out and
Uh-huh.
left it.
Yeah. Maybe I was going to make a joke about small miniature firewood. And but even like selling 1,000 boxes of mini firewood, that's a lot of work too, isn't it?
Oh, and and that's a lot of wood. That's still a lot of wood.
Oh my.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
anyway,
That's 1,000. So I told you I was thinking of myself here. So for me to be like 500, well, I guess 1,000's easier to do here. 1,000 cords a year. So there are, okay, I want to take the weekends off. Okay. So how many Mondays through Fridays are there in a year, a calendar year? This is
um,
some serious math here,
this is
huh?
let's see, what is that? 52 times 5? Yeah, 260.
There's 260 days of work. Okay. I would like to maybe take a couple weeks of vacation.
Nope. Okay. So
I want to
minus
schedule
14,
I need to
246.
schedule myself
Okay.
a couple headaches and a couple bee sting days. Okay. All right. So let's just go with 260. If you are going to make 1,000 cords a year and you're going to take 260 days to do it. So how many cords a day is that?
Let's see. That would be 3.8.
3.8. So let's just say 4. So if you're going to make 500 cords a year, you have to make 2 cords a day, Monday through Friday.
Friday. Correct.
Okay. And then that's obviously not counting delivering them and stuff too, huh? We're just talking making it.
Yeah, well, true. Yeah, well, but I'm guessing if you're making it, you want to also be delivering it, or you're going to have a huge pile.
Yeah. And then I'm thinking about the money too. So like, um, okay, I do restaurants, but if I had a robust network of customers that would buy boiler wood throughout the summer, which is reasonable, I'm sure that happens. You got to keep selling that. And then you got to use that money to buy more truckloads because my truckloads run anywhere between $700 to $900 a pop for 6 cords. And, forking out, and then they want cash and forking out that money. and doing, what did we say now? 2 cords a day.
2 cords a day.
2 cords a day. So okay, I'm saying that is reasonable with the machines. I need, a processor, but that's still a lot of work. You think about, so I will show how fast my machine is, and brag that I can make a cord in about a half hour. Big deal. But you still have to, like, at least around here, the logs, you got to trim them. You got to cut them in half. You got to cut the knots off of them. Some of them are too big or too crooked to go through, so you got to lay them off to the side and chainsaw. And then by the time you get the live deck loaded, you get your trailer in place, you get the machine to start, you change your chain, you fill the oil up, you're looking at 2.5 hours, if I'm being honest, on how long it physically takes to get that table loaded, the logs processed. So 2.5 hours, and you're going to make 2 cords a day. So you're up to 5 hours. And then you got your afternoon nap, then your lunch, and then your pre-lunch break.
Yep.
And then you
Mid
got to
morning.
deliver, it's like, gosh, then you got to deliver all this stuff. Or are you just going to, like, run it up a conveyor into a gigantic pile? And if you got these gigantic piles, there's another machine you got to own, like a front end loader, that's big enough to, like, handle big piles of logs like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
it's a
it's
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 a
a lot.
capital intensive, and labor intensive if you're going to do it by yourself, or maybe you need a big crew. And that's where I look at someone like, Skidder Kev, who they got a massive operation going on,
Yeah. Yep.
and the logs are a constant supply for them.
Yep.
Just being on the phone tracking down these loggers and getting the logs delivered is a full-time job. Serious.
Well, and then the other thing is with your deliveries, if you're delivering 2 cords a day, is that assuming that each customer is taking 2 cords, or are you going to have to do a one cord delivery and then another 1 cord delivery?
Yeah.
So that's that could be an added time.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it's there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. I'm so glad I sell firewood the way I do. Yeah. That's what everyone, I just laugh when people are like, oh, it's so much extra work to touch that wood and to stack it. And I was like, yeah, look at the alternative here. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'll do it
anyway,
my way.
that was that was my little shattering of a dream, possibly.
Oh, gosh.
But maybe it will help. Maybe it will help him realize, and maybe then he can adjust his thoughts and workflow, and maybe it will be a value add to his dream.
Uh-huh.
The conversation we had. Maybe that'll
Yeah.
spark some reality.
Well, I guess there's a delicate balance, though, about being real and still not, trampling
Being
someone's dream.
right.
I I think of people's business ideas as that cool looking Kevlar balloon you get at Dollar General. And then there's just some people who you will walk by and all of the helium will get sucked out of it. And then your dream's just this crumpled, shiny blob laying on the ground, tied onto a ribbon that's being drugged down the sidewalk.
Yeah. And I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be the yeah but guy. So
Uh-huh.
I used the word however instead.
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah, I
however.
would have I'd have told him, quit asking for people's opinions. Just jump in and see if it'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, quit asking for people's opinions.
all right. Well, we've been rambling on. We probably lost everyone way back there. But if you're still with
Yeah.
us,
500 chords. Yeah, I'm serious. When I think back when that guy threw that 100 number in front of me, I was thinking, there's no freaking way. There's no way I could ever do 100 chords. Of
it's a
course,
lot of
that was
wood.
then. This is, yeah, that was then. This is now. But that's still. Don't ever think for a second that 100 chords is not a lot. It is.
Yeah.
That is a lot of wood. There's a lot that goes into just 100 chords, man.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
More than meets the eye.
Let alone 500 to 800. Gee whiz.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is physically, it is practically impossible for me. I can't there's no way I could ever get close to that number because of my supply. And I'm saying that, my capacity is much higher than that, but I do what I like to do, and that's as much wood as I can get. I can't get those logs. Cannot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe if I had a magic wand.
Or a genie, a bottle. You need to start rubbing some lamps.
Well, if I did have that, I would have a new Maserati
Yeah, there's a few other things you would list off
and
before that.
my retirement account would be much bigger than what it is. Yeah.
Uh,
All right, Dan. Well, this was still fun. And
yeah.
yeah, I think that's what makes the firewood industry so exciting.
Yes,
There's a lot
indeed.
out there. A lot out there. All right. Yeah, you have a range anywhere from the massive, multi-thousand cord operations all the way down to the lowly hobbyist.
That is correct.
Yeah. Uh-huh. But 1,000 cords, all of that money in sales and your expenses, we left out probably the most important fact that controls all of that.
Oh, I know what you're going to say. 4 words.
What about the taxes?
Oh, bum, bum.
Oh yeah. We still got to get a sound effect for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Bum bum ba bum.
Bum, bum.
All
All
right. Well,
right.
Dan, let's tell everyone out there thank you for tuning in to the Woodhounds.
Wait. Strike up the band first.
Okay, strike up the band.
All right, now.
Yes.
Band is struck.
And let's thank everyone out there for tuning in to the Woodhounds podcast, the #1 firewood podcast in the world.
And hopefully we haven't shattered any of your dreams. But if we have, just go back to sleep and come up with another dream.
Yeah.
But
Breaking
tune in.
hearts and
Yeah, broken hearts and shattered dreams.
That should
Every
be the
week,
name of our podcast. Yeah.
Wednesdays at 5 a.m. on your favorite streaming service.
Oh my gosh. All right, Dan. Well, let's tell everyone out there to don't shatter
Your dreams.
and stay
Grounded in reality.
oh my gosh. And have
A great day.